Violent individuals have a diverse way of thinking compared to a standard individual. We can distinguish their violent tendencies due to chemical imbalances taking place within a violent individual's brain and restore these violent behaviors to acceptable and hospitable results. Government officials need to allow these medical studies to be utilized and funded to advance this research. An abundance of information sanctions this change into evolving this study. I have researched the topic of brain matter and violent behaviors from Yale professors and studies, the NPR organization, and the NCBI government organization. Serial killers are diverse from normal individuals due to chemical imbalances that take place within their brain. The brains of violent individuals such as murderers and serial killers are compared to individuals condemned of nonviolent crimes. These differences in the two brains can be associated with how empathy and morality are processed. Violent individuals have reduced gray matter when compared to those involved in other nonviolent crimes. These demotions within the violent brain were particularly evident in regions of the brain affiliated with emotional processing, behavioral control, and social cognition. Studying a serial killer's brain when they are detained or deceased, we can learn more about their violent nature and what attracts and motivates them to violence. The neuroscientist at University of California, Irvine, James Fallon, has studied the brains of psychopaths for around 20 years. Fallon focuses on the biological basis for behavior. His recent research studies how a serial killer's brain differs from a considered normal brain. Scientists are just beginning to study the orbital cortex of the brain. The evidence displays that some people's brains are susceptible towards violence and that psychopathic tendencies may be passed down from one generation to another. The orbital cortex, the area that Fallon and other scientists believe is involved with ethical behavior, moral decision-making, and impulse control. People with low activity in the orbital cortex are either freewheeling types or sociopaths. Learning about the abnormalities in a serial killer's brain will help us create ideas as to cure these behaviors found in violent individuals and ensure the becoming of serial killers is limited or non-existent. Therefore, these studies need to continue well into the future. Mental health professionals in Madison, Wisconsin, based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, were taking big endeavors to treat young psychopaths with a progressive new pursuit to criminal rehabilitation. A psychologist at University of Mexico and one of the foremost experts on psychopathy in 2012, Dr. Kent Keel, disclosed that psychopaths have reduced gray matter in the paralimbic system of the brain. Keel's research establishes his conjecture: psychopaths who are unremorseful and antisocial have fundamentally different brains than the rest of us. The finding was replicated in psychopathic youth the following year. The brain structure in psychopathy is correlational between the two concepts. The data retrieved strongly implies that the stunted paralimbic system is present from birth. The study of neuroanatomy and neuroscience needs to make an emergence within law enforcement when making convictions against violent criminals. If these studies are made available to the victim's decision, then more violent cases, including murder, can be comprehended by victims, giving them more reason to continue with their prosecution. Besides the idea of closure for victims, law enforcement can also benefit from the use of neuroscience when coming into contact with violent individuals. Studying an individual's brain needs to be introduced into the upcoming adjustment within law enforcement to ensure successful and positively impacted results.